Well, Issam Marwi from BBC Arabic told me whether the Kurds in Iraq were reassured by what Mike Pence had to say.
I think the whole point of the visit is to send a message to the Kurds that their interests in northern Iraq will be taken care of, following criticism of the United States' decision to withdraw its support to the Kurds in Syria. Although the Kurds in Iraq have got different interests, however, there is some sympathy with the Kurds in Syria.
Well, if should he not have visited the Kurds in Syria? They're the people who are feeling that the US withdrawal betrayed them, and yet he hasn't gone and said anything to them directly.
Well, it's not safe for him to go to Syria. You know, that part of Syria, eastern Syria, you've got the Turks there, you've got some of the militias, you've got the remnants of ISIS, you've got the Russians. So I presume the assessment was it was not safe for him to go there. Plus, the Americans have made their position clear vis-a-vis the Kurds in Syria, and probably they felt there's nothing for them to do there now.
So what support do the Kurds in Iraq want from the US?
Well, the Kurds in Iraq have been autonomous since 1990, following the ousting of Saddam Hussein from Kuwait. If you remember, there was a no-fly zone in northern Iraq, and the Kurds took advantage of that situation and managed to establish themselves as an autonomous region from the central government in Baghdad. And during this time, we're talking about a period of almost 20 years, 30 years even, the Kurds there have managed to establish themselves. They've got all sorts of relations going on with the outside world, including the United States, Turkey and other countries. So the message that America will take their interests into account.
Okay, and let's move on now. The other big story happening right now in the country, of course, is these protests, anti-government protests. People are being killed. Did Mike Pence have anything to say on that?
Well, according to American sources, that he had a phone conversation with the Prime Minister of Iraq, Adel Abdel Mahdi, and he expressed concern about the rising number of casualties. So far, 325 people have been killed since October. Almost 15,000 others have been injured. So apparently the Americans have expressed concern about that. Also, he expressed concern about increasing Iranian influence in Iraq.
And just on the protests, it's a hugely serious situation. It seems no sign of dying down. What is the end game that the protesters are after here?
Well, the protesters have been out in the street for a very long time now, 6 or 7 weeks. So they're not going to back down. They're saying that unless their demands are met, they want the government to resign, they want a new constitution, new election, a new electoral law. So all sorts of things have to come into play for them. They've rejected any offer of a lull or a truce with the government, and they're determined to stay out and about. They're not only in Baghdad, but also in other parts of Iraq.
Issam Marwi there with the latest in Iraq. Well, let's